Thank you very much, Presiding Officer. It's a real pleasure to have the opportunity to speak in this debate. And I'd like to begin by thanking Adam Tompkins for bringing this issue to the Chamber, and as well as reminding the Chamber that I am the PLO to the Cabinet Secretary, I should also declare that I'm a member of the Musicians' Union, and I've played in many of the venues we've spoken about this evening, alas not the Hydro. Not yet, but I think it's, there's two aspects I want to capture on, and just the actual kind of value for what it is to have a city like Glasgow and the fantastic array of live music they have. And also just I want to touch on what it is for a musician to have somewhere like Glasgow, which I think is very important as well. For me, Glasgow's hardwired into my whole musical development and experience. I remember going to my first gig, seeing Def Leppard at the SECC. Going on, well, it was 19 years ago now. Going on to see Megadeth at the Carling Academy, I beg your pardon, at the Barrowlands, Sigur Rós at the Carling Academy, Queen and Adam Lambert at the Hydro. And that is just an array of the very many fantastic, huge venues we have, and many have touched on. A particular venue that means a lot to me as well is ABC. Now, there is obviously a poignant element to this debate, given the events. A particularly pleasurable moment for me at the ABC was of all things, a political party event. The SNP had a concert there just ahead of the election in 2011, which was a fantastic evening. A great experience, live music and lots of promising talent as well performing on stage that evening. But one of the great things about Glasgow is it's not just all these big headline venues that we know about. It's places like the State Bar, Howling Wolf, where you will have one of the best blues jams in Glasgow, Box, Nice and Sleazy's. So much of the talent we have in Glasgow and emanates relies upon these grassroots venues. They rely upon the opportunities provided by these venues. And certainly for me, as someone who was for a long time trying to make my way in music and function bands, etc., and for many of my colleagues, having that opportunity was invaluable. It was tough. It was difficult. It was like a question of Russian roulette, what kind of sound engineer you were going to have that night and whether you were going to hear yourself on stage. But nonetheless, you had an opportunity to connect with people, to connect with punters, to build an audience. And I know folk that have went on to go and build actually very successful careers. One colleague of mine from years back when I was playing, a guy called Gary Johnston, he is one of the most, a name is probably not a household name, but one of the most successful kind of, I think, guitarists and singer-songwriters Glasgow has produced in a long time. And he regularly, when he gets a chance off from playing many functions and events, will go to places like Chicago and New York and Nashville and go on stage and jam with the best. And when I speak with Gary, when I get the opportunity to, and I see the comments that he makes about just how much he values Glasgow, someone who's got the experience of playing in all these different venues, it's clear that Glasgow is a world music city. And it's not just for audience and for spectators and people who consume music, but for the people who produce music. And I think if you look at the United States, how effective they have been at advertising Chicago, Nashville, and New York in particular. We know of the venues which have these iconic status, Madison Square Gardens, the Village Vanguard. We have to be working more to making sure that these venues in Scotland have that same international status, because in terms of facilities, in terms of the capacity they have, in terms of the talent and the artists that we can attract, they are world-class venues, and we must celebrate that. And I very much welcome the comments from Adam Tompkins regarding looking at ways in which we can link up, because Finnieston has in many regards been transformed since the advent of the Hydro, a fantastic venue, and we're seeing the benefits that has. And what we have to be making sure is that when people come to the Hydro to enjoy these events, they aren't just jumping on the rate train and going home or popping in for a pint in Finnieston, but they're heading in and exploring all these other venues in Glasgow and having the opportunity to engage in that rich musical culture and heritage. So I would again just like to thank Adam Tompkins for bringing this debate to the Chamber, and I look forward to seeing Glasgow continue to be a thriving and diverse world music city.
Thank you.